So, I worked as an intern in a manga company. Some of you might be a bit curious of why I chose to work in a manga company. An alien like me chose to work in an art industry. Well, truth to be said, it was mainly for the experience, I want to see how humans draw and create. Which, in a day-to-day basis, I mainly take the train, I draw, I ink, I eat, I draw again, I study, and I sleep. Rinse and repeat. Again and again and again and again and again. Alright, let's start from the beginning, shall we? I studied in a manga illustration school for almost 2 years and 8 months. The final semester was basically about internship, so I had to find a job. Somebody please adopt me for 3 to 4 months. That was what I said earlier. But I was lucky that I found myself at Rice Production, which was run by Cross. Cross was a teacher as well back in my art school days. That's why I got to learn more from that lecturer. Moving on, I got accepted and it's time to experience the working life. I took the train for almost around 45 minutes and yeah, it was a bit sketchy because there was a lot of stuff happening at once. Cross tasked the interns to do 3 A2 size illustrations in black and white. Why was it A2 size though? Well, as drawing onto something big can train how you capture the size and proportion more correctly, and the levels of details as well. It's basically drawing on a paper at a difficulty level. And a 8-page manga, which was the story, was up to our own decision. There was also like a 200-page sketchbook that we have to complete, but let's ignore that part for now because I still have not completed it yet. Crazy thing was, there was a lot of study materials, a lot of books at Rice Production. So the alien that I like to hoard them. And it came to my mind that I wanted to do something challenging when I was there. Something that the others wanted me to polish. Cough. So I landed to the Renaissance style. Yes, you heard the very fancy Victorian age style. I studied a lot regarding the clothing design and the architecture. Everything was very well detailed, even for the naked eye to see. I started out with the 3 A2 size first. Of course, I drafted out some ideas, fixed around with the compositions, mainly inspired by knights and princesses back in the Victorian age. For my pieces, I used blue, black and red pencils to do the sketching, and afterwards ballpoint pen to do the inking. I did not really use Micron because it would run out very quickly on an A2 size. And the pen can apply pen pressure, which was basically how I achieved the gradient effect for the texture. The first piece had more studies to do regarding the frame and the composition of big circles surrounding our main subject. I even managed to use a Chinese brush to ink the background fully black. The contrast made the subject stand out. The next piece was probably the hardest since there was a lot of leaves, rocks, nature and wood, and I managed to mess up quite a lot at the start since it was kind of hard to capture the proportion of the goddamn horse! But third, it's the charm. So I managed to roughly get the shape of the horse and I proceed to clean sketch it afterwards. Afterwards, it was time to ink. Looking back at it now, there was a lot to worry about, like the foreground flowers and the trees, but the ground part was probably the most time-wasting piece of chicken food. Like legit, I was having a mental breakdown in my brain holding my pen drawing this. Leaf by leaf, different variation and sizes. I was about to crash out, but I still managed to complete it despite the worrisome thoughts of quitting. I added a white crosshatch to indicate the light direction for the final touch. Alright, for the final last A2 size illustration, I decided to do landscape. I wanted to do something harder than before. At first, I wanted to try drawing water, but I gave up because I had no directions after the water part because the top part was all just nature. In the end, I went for something easier. Something more gentle, with still life. I chose the main subject, sleeping gracefully filled with objects and flowers. But at the end, I still managed to complete it despite being the last piece and without much guidance because I brought it back home with me. I managed to buy some A2 size frames and one custom because the horse was an odd one out. That piece was just too big, so cringe. But that's basically pretty much it, not gonna lie, regarding what I went through in this 4 months in rice production. With so much stuff I learned throughout this 4 months that I wish I could spend lesser time on it. But drawing does take time, mentally and physically. I'll probably have more time to think about it again. But thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, and of course, if you want to support me, please check out my Ko-fi, which I sell merchandise there. But anyways, goodbye.